And we're back on your television here to get into the news review segment. I've been joined by two guests. Kamal Din Abdullahi is the National Nasara Coordinator. Kamal, welcome. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
How are you doing?
Wonderful smoke you have there.
Thanks.
Interesting. And Comrade Murtala Mohammed as well. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming. So we'll get on to the headlines. And the Finder says President slams shoddy work, warns Ghanaians against such inimical practices. Adonko Bitters cooperated with FDA investigations. Government settles on 49% shares for ECG concessionaire. 2017 manifest to attract wider global attention, organizers say, and government must fulfill pledges to Ghanaian workers, according to the NDC. The Finder Sport says UEFA Champions League, Real aim to oust Atletico again. History favors Juve, and yesterday I was excited about Accra's of folks win over Kumasi Asante Kotoko. The Daily Statement, government saves 433 million Ghana cedis from tackling ghost workers fraud. Petroleum Commission denies corruption claim. The Independent newspaper for this morning says Baumia commends Amewu for bravery in Galamsey fight. Minerals Commission announces online mining licenses system. The Business Day says 8,000 workers storm Labour Commission, 2,331 of them fight of unfair dismissals. Commission able to settle 4.6 out of every 10 complaints. We're told also of the fact that gold price has risen, sparing Galamsey. Chamber of Mines says so. That's according to the Business Day. And Daily Heritage says government retrieves 433 million from ghosts on payroll as president inspired hope as May Day parade. And that's about it. Gentlemen, welcome. Good morning. One more time.
Good morning, John.
Yesterday was May Day. I start with you, Kamal. What were what's your general perception of the whole thing? How it went down and all of that, considering the fact that some workers say their April salaries have not arrived yet.
Well, let me say a very good morning to cherished viewers out there, and also good morning to my brother Murtala, to you yourself. Once again, a very happy May Day wish goes out there to all workers of this country, and also to the President of the Republic, who gave a very excellent speech at the occasion. If you have had cause to read in its entirety the speech that he delivered, you would appreciate the fact that he left no stone unturned to instill, if you like, hope, to instill, if you like, basically happiness, I would call it, in the Ghanaian worker. Also making sure that he is actually in control and everything that ought to be done to make sure the Ghanaian worker is cushioned will be put in place. Right. I would say that the Ghanaian workers, we say Ayiko to them. We say TUC has come a very long way. Organized labor has come a very long way. Right. Government upon government since independence have had cause to work with organized labor to make sure that indeed their grievances, if they have any, at any given time, is adhered to, is listened to, and is really taken seriously. Nonetheless, this current government is also leaving no stone unturned, like I said earlier on, to ensure that the Ghanaian labor is given that cushioning that they need. If you listen to the president, he admonished most of the contractors, especially the private sector, okay, to ensure that when giving contracts, shoddy work should not be part of what they're doing. Right. It comes, on the back of we having in a country where news will fly that, look, buildings have collapsed, okay, taking lives. We've had cause to talk about some roads being constructed and in some few months, potholes.
In fact, the Circle Dubai road has a bit of that.
No, but that one, I will clearly even say that was more of a force majeure, where we had this articulated truck running into, was it container?
No, I'm not talking about the rail. I'm talking about the side road.
Oh, okay.
So the one in front of Busy Internet laying down onto the old filling station.
So it's a complete example.
Yes.
Very well. That is a very clear example of what the president meant by shoddy work and all that. I mean, I would also try to come on to support what our president said, that look, if you are given that confidence, if you are given that trust, that look, go out there and execute a job for Mother Ghana, please do it and do it well.
But in the execution of your job, there's also remuneration or compensation for what you do. And they say this month, the pay has not arrived. How do we juxtapose the two? You expect me to deliver excellently on my mandate, and yet what would take me
You are comparing apple with orange.
Explain.
If we're talking about a contractor who has put in a bid to be given a contract,
I'm not talking about
tender for a job. No, that's what we're talking about. The president is talking about contractors should make sure that shoddy work is not part of it.
And in the shoddy work,
you are talking about salaries here.
Come out. In shoddy work, he didn't just mention contractors. He also spoke about workers who turn up for work late, spend the first hour praying, and then subsequently go for long breaks, don't return, and expect that they get productivity and be competitive. So it's all linked to it. I'm saying that for those workers who stick to time, who stick to their 9 to 5 and work and even go the extra mile, the salaries for April have not arrived. Is it justifiable?
Yeah, you see, I'm sure you want me to drift from this shoddy works that we are contractors
we're done we are done discussing.
No, it wasn't conclusive. My submission wasn't conclusive. Point is that if you're a contractor, you have been contracted to ensure that work is done. No, I'm going to move to salaries. I'm going to move to salaries. I'm going to move the Johnny. Just make sure that you execute the job with all the pizzazz that it needs or the flair that we need. Now, to salaries. You're talking about, workers complaining that April salary hasn't even come yet, and they've not had that. Of course, yes, not to draw in, equalization or not to draw in some amount of justification. Clearly, if you want productivity to be high, this I would admit. Look, let the person who is supposed to have his salary or his, as it were, remuneration, if you want to call it, get it on time or get it in time. I'm sure some technicalities might have actually caused the delay. Not so much privy to it anyway. But no one, not my brother Mutala, not myself, not you, would say that, look, go work without any pay. Okay? No one will say that. However, I'm sure we've had times past in the past where people or workers, if you like, never got paid for 2 months or 3 months because of, once again, some challenges that maybe the system might have had or something.
Is it right even if it happens?
It is not right. I just told you. I said it's not right and it will not be right. Why? I have family to take care of. He has family to take care of. You equally have family to take care of. Of course, if I am hoping that by 21st or 25th of the month, end of the month, I'm supposed to get paid, and I'm not paid. Why not? I shouldn't worry. So clearly speaking, I believe there is some bit of challenge over there. Finance Ministry and also Controller and Accountant General ought to fine-tune this, look at it critically, so that at least going forward, we will not have some of these problems. But it is only April we didn't get it. Is that right?
You're right.
We got January.
Exactly.
We got February.
March.
We got March. Only April hasn't come. That tells you there's a genuine mistake somewhere.
They tell you that.
It tells you there's a genuine challenge somewhere.
All the good things you do are written on water. The bad things are written in sand and maybe on stone.
You can never have it 100%. Johnny, you can never have it 100%.
Right.
If a government that has come to power, which government, of course, when the first State of the Nation address was presented by the President in Parliament, he told the minority in the face, the economy you have left is wobbling. Well, yeah, you are aware of it.
You have been told
and even that government is able to do February, is able to do March, and April has a bit of problem, then that one is going to be an issue.
The NDC says you must fulfill your promises.
We are doing that. We have done it a lot. If you read the statement that my acting general secretary sent out, and again, if you read even the entire speech of the president, it tells you that the steps that we have taken as a government to where we are today, we are doing pretty good. Okay. And Ghanaians know.
Let's, Mutala, good morning one more time. So yesterday the president spoke, and he spoke at length, spoke on a lot of issues, but key among them is the rebuttal that your party issued, that promises that were made by the president and his party must be fulfilled. Some say it's too early for you to make this call because just 4 months into the government.
They've been singing about this for long.
Is that a right reaction?
I thought I was quiet.
I'm going to be quiet.
Come out, please, allow him. Yes. So, Mutala.
Let me say good morning to our cherished viewers. Of course, the good people of Nanton constituency. And my good friend, I can understand the struggle to defend the indefensible. I can understand that. I think that what happened yesterday was nothing short of a symptom of incompetence. It is important also to talk about the handlers of His Excellency the President. I do understand that when he was a candidate and he went to Legon, you remember, sorry to the phlegm issue. Now he ceases to be, after he won the elections, he is now the property of the people of Ghana. And his safety, his decency, and his protection is the responsibility of all of us, regardless the political persuasion. So if they knew that he had called, I think that they could have written a very brief speech for him, or at least they would have provided something that would take care of that. Clearly, this is a person who can speak extempore, and I thought that even if they didn't want him to stand so long a time, he could have delivered the speech, because these are issues that are already known to him. These are issues that he's abreast with. So I think that the handlers of His Excellency the President need to watch out. I don't think they need to be subjecting him to this gross embarrassment and subjecting the entire nation to this. I really don't think that it argues well. That aside, the President's speech indeed was fraught with a lot of falsehood. And I'll say one. He stated that they have renegotiated the compact deal with regards to the ECG thing.
4951.
Good. First and foremost, when have they done that? It was approved by Parliament. The compact was approved by Parliament. The last time I checked, there wasn't any renegotiation that was approved by Parliament. Now, for a president to make that announcement, for me, it's extremely worrying.
From 25 to 20
Yes,
years.
it's extremely worrying. This was something that was approved by Parliament. The ECG, in fact, and part of what we approved was either we accept concession or privatization. The previous administration decided that we are not going to go by privatization, we are going to go by concession. Right. So if you want to change variables or items in that particular compact, you need to go back to Parliament. Right. That was not done. This was a lawyer, a very renowned lawyer, a president of the Republic of Ghana, who knew that this thing was done, approved by Parliament. For you to make that statement, I think it's extremely worrying. By the way, the Americans, as far as they are concerned, and if you look at the kind of negotiations and arrangement that was done, look at what was done by the previous administration. We never said that it is going to be this percentage. We said minimum was going to be 20%. And with the 20%, you could even go beyond 50-51%. And by the way, looking at how the financial market operates, it will be difficult for you to find an investor who will be willing to take less than that particular majority shares if that person is going to inject about $400 million. And the compact also comes with about over $900 million. So you are talking about $1 billion. That's right. It will be difficult for you to find that. That is one. Another issue that we must understand, this business of reducing it from 25 to 20, for me it was absolutely bogus. And I say this for a reason.
Why would you say that?
If you look at the compact, the arrangement was that there is going to be a 5-year review and a 10-year major review.
That's right.
So after 10 years, government would then take a decision whether you should continue with it or not. So for you to say that, oh, we have reduced it from 25 to 20, to gain what? It was completely bogus. What we needed to do was to tell us whether indeed the arrangement that was put by the previous administration, where there is going to be a 5-year review, a minor review, and a 10-year major review. So what it then means is that after 10 years, if we realize, or even 5 years minor review and the major review after 10 years, if you realize that the thing is not serving our interest, you can decide not to go ahead. And even when after the 10 years, even when you get 20, 25 years and you think that the thing is good for us, then you continue. Right. So what was the haste in making such kind of announcement? We have reduced it, when in actual fact, there hasn't been any position. And I expect MEDA and the Millennium Challenge accounts to state their position very clearly. But the substantive issue I asked, this compact was approved by Parliament. Right. And what Parliament approved had a component of either the thing was going to be a privatization or a concession. Now, you can't change anything in what was approved by Parliament.
Exactly. And
now,
in fact, the ECG workers themselves have had challenges.
Exactly. And two, even if you look at the kind of arrangement, if you have someone who is coming to inject money, such a person if you understand and appreciate how the financial market operates globally, would not want to be holding the minority shares, except that he would want to do the kind of arrangement that the MPP did with the Malaysians, where they had minority, but they were in charge of management. And I think that these are some of the issues we need to look at. Exactly. Another issue that the president didn't talk about has to do with the fact that there has been an attempt to privatize VRA.
Okay. Said they will list it on the stock
how can you list capital investment to pay consumables? It simply doesn't make sense. Even the basic economic level and the economic student will tell you it doesn't make sense.
The president has one of the best fund managers in the world as
fund managers. When we have about $2.2 billion bond that was went into in the most bizarre and dubious circumstances, where independent and civil society groups and international organizations are now asking that there should be thorough investigation. You tell me has fund management. By the way, we were also told, if you listen to what the president said, they rehash, and the statement issued by the MPP. Right. The very promises they made, promises that can never be fulfilled. And I'll give you a classical example. If you look at the KIE of local government implement, which was even something that was discriminatory, because you have
why was it?
You have truck pushers who raised concerns that these are market tolls that were charged. Now, if you come and do it, what will be the effect? And by the way, you are talking about the kind of measures the previous administration and this started. There was a special program for KIE in which over 10,000 KIE students were enrolled into SHS free. And artisans and training and other vocations were. We thought that this government would have continued. Another very important...
Did we have a plan to sustain it?
Already it was there. The previous administration started it. If you so love the KIE and laughed at the exodus of young people moving from parts of the country to Accra to look for jobs that are not available, there can't be any better solution in solving that than this. And by the way,
today the KIA say they are happy to put down their pants to go and be part of planting for food and jobs.
Well, but then what is the essence? Don't you also know that when you do it, first and foremost, when you do something that is supposed to be discriminatory, it raises concerns. Now look at the spare parts thing. With all the so-called economists and brains they have, they didn't know that it was part of the component of the CET. The CET, which an individual or one nation cannot take a unilateral decision. They never thought of that. They came out and blanket that we are going to remove taxes on spare parts. It simply does. In fact, it defeats the purpose for which we have been touted, that we have the best economists as the vice president of the Republic of Ghana. They should have known. They didn't even need to go through any economics, but they just needed to find out what kind of tax component, where does the taxes on spare parts fall. Now, they would have realized it falls under the CET, and you cannot do that. So clearly, what happened yesterday is nothing but a symptom of a demonstration of absolute incompetence and substandards.
All right.
Thank you. Come on. So,
a bit of a response. And I think
5149. Let's start from the issue so we can get into the other issues. 5149. Solomon Kutai of the ICU says he really doesn't see as much ado about nothing. He won't wash, really. Is that it?
Well, I want to disagree a bit. And I would like to say that my good brother here says, look, if a matter is approved by Parliament, or if you like, if a law is passed by Parliament, there's nothing you can do about it. You just go with it, hook, line, and sinker.
I didn't say that.
He didn't say. It says you need to go back to Parliament.
Oh, let me tell him
you need to go back
please,
to Parliament.
Oh, please.
Otherwise, you cannot.
Let me just... What I said was that this is a renowned lawyer. Now, something that was approved by Parliament, and you know too well that for you to have amendment or whatever in it, it has to go back to Parliament. That has not been done. And on a platform like this, you make such pronouncement. My brother, I can't take fire.
That is what is the same thing I'm saying. It's the same thing I'm saying. His biggest problem is that look, the matter was laid before Parliament. Parliament had looked into it.
That's the ECG agreement, compact agreement.
Parliament had looked at it, passed it, goes on. Implementation could be done by who? The executive. Is that not right? Now, I want to just refer my brother to, he's a law student. I mean, he's read law.
So,
I just want to refer to him.
So are you.
This business.
Listen. I just want to refer to you.
Comment on this.
When you read Francis Benion's constitutional law of Ghana, and clearly understands how the executive operates. Clearly understands how executive and parliament sometimes interrelate. You will agree with me that there's room for what we call executive instrument.
Which is?
Wait a minute. There's room for what we call an executive instrument.
Where it allows you to bypass
where
Parliament.
it allows you stay on Parliament, as it were, proposal or Parliament approval or Parliament position, and of course add meat to what is supposed to be implemented.
This is supposed to be...
No, I'm coming. And on the back of an executive instrument, you can actually go ahead with what Parliament has agreed on, provided you are not departing completely from what Parliament had actually given. Okay. Now, the point here is that if in implementing agreements by Parliament or approved by Parliament, then you say that, look, we would have needed to add X, Y, Z, or would have needed to do X, Y, Z. Now, without going to Parliament, you can ride on the back of an executive instrument and, of course, implement same. Okay. So if he says that, look, we're not going to Parliament, amounts to an incompetent behavior, I think it's so sad. Because if we have such an agreement and governance is complex, governance can go through on that tangent, I think there's nothing that stops it and it can move on. That is what I wanted to give as a response to what he claimed we didn't go back to Parliament or we didn't look at it. Now, you see, point is that he talks about VRA and says that there's an attempt to privatize VRA. Okay? By the mere fact that we mentioned or we have said that we want or we intend to list it on the Ghana Stock Exchange to ensure that we able to get it, get VRA working in terms of getting some finances or getting some capital support so it can move on. Right. That again to him is problematic. I don't see why that is problematic. At all.
He's talking about listing it to pay for.
Do you want me to
consumables? I don't see why that is problematic, my brother. Are you telling me that there's anything wrong listing VRA on the stock market?
Do you know what we call privatization? Do you know what we call privatization?
No, listing it on stock exchange.
What is it? You are getting private participation.
Have you holistically privatized VRA?
You are talking
or you are listing it on the stock exchange to get...
Whether Jonah swallowed the fish or the fish swallowed Jonah, there was a swallow.
Holistically privatized VRA.
You don't need to holistically...
That's what we're saying. Please. So there is nothing wrong with listing VRA on the stock market.
According to you.
There's nothing, no.
According to the gospel of Kamal.
To get it, to be able to get it working the way we want VRA to work. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So if you sit here and tell me that, look, there's an attempt to privatize VRA, and then at the end of the day, you cite relisting it on stock exchange, and then trying to get some capital, as it were, investment in there, it's more privatized. Yes, to a large extent, it may be, but nothing also stops it.
Okay.
All right. The principle that we do have.
We'll move on, but 1 minute for you.
On a more serious note, it's amazing, even if you look at the statement that was issued by the MPP in response to the questions we have asked that have been begging for answers and none is coming.
Right.
They went ahead to talk about the CD that it is appreciating. Why? The last time I checked, it has broken bail. Dr. Baumia told us that they have arrested the CD, locked it, and the keys are with the IGP. I want you to inform him when you leave here that the CD has jumped bail.
Okay.
You see, former Deputy Governor of Bank of Ghana, he should have known that the least you would do is to do politics with the fluctuation CD, particularly when we live in a country that is hugely import dependent. When they injected $120 million, we said, you don't indeed shore up the value of a local currency, but mere injecting money into the economy.
But you did save $20 million every day.
But how did it help? At the end of the day, you needed to come out with pragmatic policies and interventions. And I'll give a classical example. We were able to come out with policies that were geared towards producing a lot of the things that were important. Classical example had to do with rice. And that explained the following year that we had a surge in the production of local rice by 60% and a reduction by foreign rice by 40%. By the way, if you look at the pharmaceuticals, we had a policy at the Ministry of Trade. And in fact, as part of it, even the CET, taxes that were imposed, zero rating of certain pharmaceutical product that we produce in Ghana had zero rating. That is one way, because if we spend almost $1 billion every year or more in the importation of pharmaceutical products and rice. You need to come out with policy interventions that will help you reduce the amount of foreign exchange that you otherwise would have spent on that.
In fact, in the budget that was read by Mr. Keno Foriata, they had some arrangement for that, for medicines that were imported, tax cut for that one.
What arrangement? Why they continuing with what we started?
No,
now you come out and then you tell us taxes you didn't even know that under the CET, one nation cannot go out unilaterally and take a decision.
That doesn't apply to the pharmaceutical.
If this is not a symptom of substandard, then what else can one describe?
Let's move on. Come on, we need to move on.
I clearly think that he said the dollar. He said the dollar.
Come on, we need to move on.
It has jumped bill.
What is the rate as we stand?
Well, you should tell me.
Don't quote figures.
Don't quote figures.
What is the rate?
Because you are noted for quoting figures.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I'm saying that.
Thank you, gentlemen.
What is the rate?
And you can join us on WhatsApp 050-823-5228. That's 050-823-5228. Also on Twitter at News on TV3. Hashtag your comment. TV3 New Day. The Daily Guide says 26,589 ghosts busted. Government saves 433 million cedis. And many watchers have said that we have not been able to completely wipe out the names. How then did we arrive at the figure? It seems like a disconnect. Come out. Is there a response that you want to give to this?
Again, you're saying that
26,589 ghosts busted. That's what the Daily Guide says. Now we are estimating that some 400.
Are we estimating, or listen to it? Or if we are going on the phase of it, what it says here, some 26,000 names.
Good.
Or over 26,000 names.
And I'm saying, come on, hold on.
And the figure is actually given that 433 million.
And I'm saying that. Watchers say that you have not been able to completely wipe out.
Well. So
how then do you arrive at a figure?
Did we arrive at a figure called 26,589?
Tell me.
No, did we arrive?
Tell me.
No,
I'm the one asking the questions here.
I see the story as you read it or as you pointed to us.
So
says that some 26,589 ghost name has actually been expunged. Now, some 26,000 been expunged. Government has saved Mother Ghana about 433 million Ghana cedis as a result of that. Now, the question is, people have asked, why? If you are not done with the job, how did you arrive at 433 million? I think it's not logical.
Okay,
so clearly, what is logical is that 26,589 explains it all. The figure that has been given so far, if we take in 26,000 out, then we have 433 saved.
Okay. Let me read a bit of the story. It says the issues about ghost names on the government payroll seems far from over, as another payroll fraud syndicate is said to have been busted. Addressing workers at Independence Square in Accra yesterday to mark May Day, President Akufo Addo made a stunning revelation that through payroll audit conducted by the Ministry of Finance under the impressive leadership of Keno Foriata in the last 2 months, some 26,589 workers' salary have been suspended from the April 2017 payroll, and says that according to the President, the cost of maintaining these 26,589 names on the government payroll is 36,166,203 million per month. So, well, stands to save the country what 433 million. Exactly. Now, question then will be, could this be the reason for which some salaries have not arrived? Are we labeling people as ghosts when in fact they have their biometric cards?
No.
And because a gentleman, I always say this, a gentleman from the north, Seidu, says he has his biometric card. He went through the process, and yet he's been labeled as a ghost in the recent list.
You see, there are lots of technicalities involved in this. I'm aware that the validation process to get someone paid, of course, takes a whole lot of, it's a whole lot of process. And we should also agree that indeed there are some ghost names still sitting in our,
but where you have your biometric card.
No, of course, why not? You can have a biometric card. We've always had people beating the system to it.
Wow.
We've always had people beating the system to it technically. People do that. Electronically, people
you know people who do that.
The point is that, look,
do you know people who do
this
that?
matter has, this story says it all.
But you say you know people.
If some 26, listen, Johnny. If some 26,000 has actually been find out that yes, these were ghost names sitting in our payroll, and we needed to make sure we cleanse the entire payroll system. okay, to make sure we move forward because of the resources that we're going to dissipate. 26,000 cited. Are you telling me all these 26,589 people sitting on it could not, some of them, or we could not have some of them coming out to say that, look, I am biometrically, as it were, okay, and I am well positioned to say I'm one of the people to benefit benefit from the salaries that are going to be paid by government and all that. We're going to have people say same. Yet it's problematic. So the entire system needs to be overhauled, which we are doing.
My difficulty, Kamal, is this, that say we work at a place, Mutala is our supervisor, we come to work every day, we sign attendance sheets, he presents a report every month to our boss, and so we know who is working in the department. How then do I get labeled as a ghost?
There is already
when in fact I'm coming to work every day?
There is already a system in place called the head count system that they do, okay, to ensure that manually just those people who are supposed to be on the payroll are those who are on the payroll. Again, I'm saying that the entire system also, which is electronic, also could actually have some people, you know, finding their way onto the payroll when in fact they are not on the field. Now, if the head count establishes that, look, this organization has 5 people, and these are people so working with us, so be it. If we take the system and juxtapose it to what the head count says and what actually the system says, and there are some disparities, why not? Nothing stops the system from cleansing or from working on it. Now, I'm saying that fact is that we have some ghost names sitting there, 26,000. Fact is that these people indeed hitherto were paid or some monies had gone to them. Fact is also that we need to make sure that we cleanse the entire system, which the government is doing, and the government is on course to be doing or seem to be doing. So it tells us that, look, some work is needed to be done on it. That explains, to a very large extent, your first issue when you said that, look, even April salaries have not been received. And we are told that, look, this exercise ought to have gone through to get the system looking so clean so that we can push the money out. As I speak today, I'm told that, look, the validation is done. Some workers who are supposed to be paid have received their text messages from Controller and Accountant General and the banks that they're supposed to go to take their monies, and this money has actually been pushed out. Nonetheless, this work also is done. We should be commending the government for making sure that, look, whoever has worked and deserved to be paid is the one who is paid. But if you've not done any work, why not? If you are not on the payroll, you're not supposed to be on the payroll, and you are on it, and the government comes after you and then takes your names out or expand your name out, that is a good thing for us. We're saving Ghana some money.
To the extent that, and somebody said jokingly that there are different sets of ghosts when there's a change of government. So NDC comes, there's a different set of ghosts. MPP comes, there's a different set of ghosts. But the point is, we're looking for a lasting solution to this problem. I'm worried because the process of getting you onto the payroll is very cumbersome, tall, long, lengthy. So you graduate from school, you finish national service, you are hired, and it takes about a year, maybe more, to get you onto the payroll. And then 5 years down the lane, you are labeled as a ghost. What is wrong with us?
Well,
it's not that simple.
First and foremost, I think that, once again, the kind of information they give to the president, and he shouldn't be in a rush of wanting to seek attention. Frankly speaking, you are the president of the Republic of Ghana.
I think the president is seeking attention.
Absolutely.
From who?
It's seeking attention that is occasioned by political
From who is he seeking attention
from? The people of this country, because he repeatedly make pronouncements that ends up extremely embarrassing. Extremely embarrassing. Please. I just made reference even to the compacting. This is another thing. Now, they are computing. What kind of information did they give him? Every single year, we have these cases coming up. I think that we have had issues of ghost names, which is of concern to all of us. Now, the extent to which the work is even in process. Now, you come out and make pronouncement that 26,589 names have been taken off, and this is the amount of money we are saving the country. Now, there are people who are coming out to say, look, my name is part of the ghost, but I'm not ghost.
I'm not a ghost.
I'm actually working. Several people, if you listen to radio stations and the kind of calls people make, several in thousands are saying, look, I am not a ghost. So for a president to make there should be a certainty and conclusion in a statement that a president will make, honestly. More importantly, on a platform such as we had yesterday, that you come out and say emphatically that this is the total number of names that we have expunged. This is how much the nation is saving. When it turns out that a lot of people, as it's been turning out, come out to say that no, you can deny those people the money. Right. Now, people are now coming and say, okay, you claim that this is the amount of money that the nation was able to save as a result of our ability to expand ghost names. Right. What did you do with that money? I think that he needs to be very, very careful. And those who give you, please, can I beg you?
You will have your
turn. Kamal, you can go on radio and make certain statements. A minister can go on radio and make certain statements. We are talking about the #1 gentleman of the land. Mind you, even in foreign...
But is it okay for a minister or
no, I'm saying
a political
that it is not excusable. It is not excusable.
Right.
But it is more worrying when such a statement is made by the president. That is the point I am making. Now, even within ministries, I remember when we're at the Ministry of Information, there were certain information that we could handle as deputy ministers. Right. Because you could just put it out. This is the information that we have gotten. Okay. Because you want to give out information, you have a responsibility to respond to the media. But when you are not certain as to what the conclusion, that you, okay, this is the information that we have gotten until we get the final information. I am saying, those who give him such informations, remember even the inaugural speech, which was completely plagiarized. I believe that they misled the president in embarrassing himself, embarrassing the entirety of this country. It's the same thing, because once you make such pronouncements that we have expunged this number of names and stated that this is the amount of money with certainty, this is the amount of money that we are getting, when at the very time there are people who are raising questions about that total figure that you have gotten. It's possible. It's possible that they may even get more than 26,000 ghost names. It's also possible that the 26 less. But another thing, every single time we have this, and by the way, we celebrated a May Day when workers were not paid. Then you tell us today that those who are working, that some of them are ghosts. If I was working and I haven't had my, in fact, in recent past, we haven't had this case happened. Go and celebrate your May Day. When the president, I believe, has taken his 30,000 Ghana city salary already.
Johnny. But the president is not going to go.
But 30,000, that's how much it takes. Twice of what President Mahmoud used.
According to Professor Addo Buando's report, is it 30,000?
But how much is it?
No, it's not. It's not 30,000.
No, how much is it?
Let's get serious on this matter. Ghana is being milked through this ghost name, scam that we're talking about. No one, the money is not coming to the pocket of my brother, it's not coming to my pocket, it's not also coming to your pocket. The exercise, wait a minute.
It is coming to the state.
It's going to the consolidator, it's our pocket.
On our lives.
When I say to your pocket individually, I mean. Point is that, as we sit today, not only this government, previous government had cause to fight,
come out.
Johnny, if I don't, you wouldn't get my line of thought, please, I beg you. What I'm saying is that if Mutala says the president just came to make a pronouncement and that trying to seek attention, I disagree with him.
He's been seeking attention.
Point is that if the president gave figures out, and you rightly, Johnny, before you got me to start speaking to this matter, you rightly said that if the matter is not finished or the subject matter is not entirely done, how do you arrive at figures that we have mentioned? Yes. And I'm saying that, look, so far, what is in hand is that some 26,000 people.
So far.
Wait a minute.
You have the speech.
So far, no, he going on the back of.
Can we?
So far, what is in hand is 26,000 plus people. Okay. And again, some amount of money has actually been saved as a result of that. Okay. It tells you the exercise is prudent. Okay. It tells you that we ought to do.
My concern for you both gentlemen is this.
Oh no, you have concern for me.
Well, my concern for you both gentlemen is that we've been trying to tackle this matter. Yes. Administration to administration. Yeah. Point is, are we able to find who the perpetrators are and bring them to book, jail them, punish them, without just collecting the money?
That is the reason why the previous administration came with this system. And for me, that is one sure issue. You cannot clean it absolutely. But I'm saying that it's a step in the right direction. That the gift-pick system, even which also was geared towards reducing unnecessary expenditures and others. But what I'm saying is that you came out with this system that everybody must have what? A card, a biometric card with which you can access money. The question then lies as to how administrators of various agencies, departments, indeed ensure that people who actually receive salaries are people who come to work.
The vice president is supposed to be chairing. Hold on, the vice president is supposed to be chairing a committee that's looking at the national identification issue. How far have they gone? Because that will go a long way in solving this matter.
Yes,
have they made progress?
I believe. Very good. You see, Johnny, I'm so happy that you've raised this. I believe that's the more reason why we want to ensure that we build a data system where, of course, each and every...
We know. I'm asking, are they making progress? What have they done?
They are making progress. They're making progress. And, of course, I know that the National Identification, Authority is doing a lot of work to ensure that, indeed, this, data that we want to collate is in place. I'm aware that some bits of, scrutiny is given to some bits or tenders that have come in from contractors who will be able to do this work. I don't know how far that has gone, but I'm sure that some work is being done on that. However, Johnny,
when I say these people are always in a haste, I mean to
why
seek attention. Why? We have
haste?
had ghost names expunged from our payroll by every single government.
Exactly.
And I'm saying that it didn't feature in May Day speeches. It didn't feature.
So your problem is that it features.
No. I'm just saying that. No. Please, I'm coming. I don't have any problem with it being featured in the May Day.
Right.
But where it is extremely misleading, where you are not certain, and the reason why it never featured was the fact that something that is ongoing. A president must speak with certainty. NYEP, it was the same thing. Your spokesperson quickly came out and said that.
And which report says
let's do a few messages, gentlemen. Thank you. Interesting conversation ongoing in the studio right now, and I'm sure if you're one of the persons who've been labeled as a ghost and you are very much alive and well, you will know. Well, Addo is indeed not against mining, but against illegal mining. Anything which is not legal cannot be influenced, but it needs to be a jilt. Well, we spoke about it earlier.
No, but the party was financed with Galamsey money.
Well, we don't know that for a fact.
Oh, in Takwa, they haven't disputed. Have you disputed?
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
And where you are going to now is the same.
Come on, it's okay. Thank you. Nkrumah Paul, a student of Tuaso Secondary School, says, I greet you all from two students, especially 2A2 students, my teacher, Kunabuta. Okay, thank you for watching. Hi, good morning, Ghana. We want to know if the Vice President will want to toil with the heart of Ghanaians in the pharmaceutical industry and the health sector by promising the making a political promise of paying NHIs of 12 months within 7 days. Today is the 7th day and nothing happens. Then it means he is a liar and a disgrace to what he preaches and practices. Good morning, Ghana. Good morning. This is Raymond inside Oda Benassi. The issue of seatbelt in public vehicles will be challenging to passengers and drivers. It can only work in station vehicles that embark on long journeys. So I think the DVLA should redefine the agenda. By the way, you're looking gorgeous in the outfit for today's program. Thank you very much. Bravo as well. Good morning. This is Raymond. Okay, we read this one. Good morning, Mr. Johnny. You're looking great this morning by Bonsuri Gabriel. Thank you, my brother-in-law. Good morning. My SNAP number, I'm sure you want, is keyed wrongly on my pay slip, which is making me a ghost now. And is it my fault or CAGDs? They should be careful not to let people cause violence because of this exercise. From Augustine. That's a clear case of somebody who has been ghostified. Mr. President, the list of the affected teachers is different from non-affected. Exactly. So why this delay? This is the first time workers celebrate May Day without salaries. NPP should wake up. It's too early for them to start misbehaving. From Habib in Tamale. And hi, staff of TV3, you are always right and on time in dealing with issues of national interest. Keep it up. God bless you for me. Amos from Chirapa, Upper West Region. What DVLA is putting on board will be good to save life. But some of the drivers are saying it's not good, but I don't agree with them. Good morning, New Day. I'm Osman from Airport Residential Area. Please, I want the government to take a critical look at the construction area in Ghana because the last level of workers are being cheated in every construction field in Accra. Delayed payment, no slate payment, very low wages, weak safety measures. Some don't pay during public holidays. I plead the government. Majority of Ghanaians are in this sector. I think what the president said was right because competency is how you manage your resources around you wisely. From Addo in Kenya. So you guys are looking great today. Greetings to OK students 3 Science 3. You guys are my best TV station. Thank you for choosing us. I will keep watching you till death of me. I see. Great choice. good morning to all my fellow youth and employment workers all over Ghana. Ernest from Haywire. Good morning to all TV3 staff. I love watching your programs. Keep the good work up. But we celebrated Workers' Day with our government paying teachers' salaries, including me. Greetings to all in Tokrom DA Basic School teachers from Chum Pobi Philip. And maybe we'll do one final one. It says, well, but they said there will be prompt payment of salaries. Today is 2nd May and no April salary. How about that? Well, it says, well, celebrating May Day with hunger. That this is what the NDC were doing that sent them to opposition. I'm a teacher, taught for 7 years now. You have just taken power and you call me a ghost and refused paying me, and you say you are saving some money for GH. Okay, so, but moving away from this subject matter, a gentleman sent a message about construction workers and the fact that SNIT is not paid for them and all of that. I want us to tie that in with Mr. Ibrahim Mohammed's wahala with the SNIT. His company, Engineers and Planners, have come up to clarify that there was indeed an arrangement that allowed them to pay in installments, and SNIT jumped the gun absolutely by taking them to the circuit court and all of that. Does that bring finality to the matter? You are a fine legal brain as well. What is it that we don't know that we need to know?
Well, I don't think that there are. I don't think there shouldn't be standard as to how Senate, payments are made for employees. Now, if indeed there was an arrangement between Senate and engineers and planners, then I don't see why Senate should do what they did. Because if we have an arrangement, depending on the standards with which payment of Senate, allowances of employees are done, what motivated that? It's just the same thing that has to do with the customs, the GRA thing. When they had an arrangement, then you had Yoko. We were told the presidency or the government was not aware whether Yoko was succumbing to the threat issued by Mr. Kennedy at Japan, where he said that if Ibrahim Mama doesn't go to prison, I think that I'm prepared to buy the coffin for him. He said if Ibrahim Mama doesn't go to prison...
You must wish your brother well.
Why? He said that if he doesn't go to prison, he will poison himself.
Okay. And we don't want to support suicide.
Well, not supporting suicide, but I think that he should walk the talk. Because if you sit on TV, you are not just anybody. You are a member of parliament, for God's sake. But the point is that there are several institutions and organizations, particularly private entities, where people are working, yet the Senate contributions are not made. In fact, the extent to which employees are educated to understand that it doesn't matter where you work, whether private or public, you need to have your Senate payments done. We have instances where people have worked for several years, several decades, and when they retire, they go and then they realize that they never had any Senate payment that was made on their behalf. It's an issue. I don't want to reduce it to just engineers and planners, because I think that for me, it's a finality now. His lawyers have indicated that yes, we had an arrangement, we delayed in payment, we have effected all the payment. For me, that is finito. But I want to look at it in the broader, your perspective, that how many people have been working. Is there a way by which Senate can educate people so that they can verify to find out whether there has been some contribution on their behalf or not? I think that we should have such.
Indeed, I have had a lot of complaints because of the program I do on 3FM, Community Connect. We have had people call us to say that they work in, say, factory A, factory B, they are factory hands or casual workers, and they don't get SNIT paid for them. But the law is clear. The Pensions Act 2008-766 says every employer is supposed to pay SNIT contributions for their workers at the end of the month. My question is, SNIT can't tell us they don't know these organizations. If they even take one of their vehicles and drive to every factory and decide to identify them, they will be able to save the people, expecting that the people will come and report their employers to you.
No, it's very simple. Every entity that is operating, either a company or a liability or whatever, you would have registered through the Registrar General. I know that there are companies that easily fold up, and even when they're folding up, nobody knows. They come, they operate after some time. Some of them are even changing, they change names. I think that it has to do with the data systems that we have in this country. But I think the Senate could have some programs, either through your medium, the media houses, either radio or TV, sensitizing and educating people the need for them to ensure that there are some contributions that is made on their behalf. It doesn't matter where they work. Now, when people are recruited, how many employees even know their Senate numbers? even if they give the numbers.
Right.
If they ask you your Senate number, you may not be able to,
Exactly.
to know it offhand.
Yeah.
Now, employees should know their Senate numbers, even if you are working from one company to another. So when you are leaving, before you are recruited, there should be a system by which your Senate number is taken, so that the contribution can also be affected by the new company with which you now work. And I think that there is the need for a lot of education to be done.
See, I know that the SNIT recently has introduced the biometric card, and they even have something that looks like an ATM where you can go and check what your contributions are if it's been made month on month.
Yeah.
I think that it boils down on education, but SNIT has the bigger responsibility. Kamal, have a bite on this one.
Yes, I'm going to have a bite on it quickly. I'm going to have a bite on it because we have an honorable member of parliament who his people or constituents see him as an honorable member and of course have made him to stay or got him to stay in parliament. And we have honorable members who are supposed now not to be in parliament because, I don't know, for reasons best known to the constituents.
I don't
know why. I'm saying we have an honorable member of parliament.
You are casting innuendos.
We have, no, I'm not. We have, wait a minute, we have an
times.
honorable member of parliament who has actually been retained and who remains an honorable member of parliament. And we have also an honorable member who has actually been taken out by his constituents. Who has been taken out by his constituents. And
can we talk Senate?
You know,
can we talk Senate?
When you are given a subject matter, when you are given a subject matter,
can we talk Senate?
Listen, when you are given a subject matter to speak to, and you decide to descend on personalities,
which personality
you decide
have I
but that's what you're doing.
Japan.
And how did
saying that? What did you say? You said
I said you had someone who said,
he's even supposed to be an honorable member. And I'm saying, who has actually been, whose confidence has been reposed in and retained in parliament, unlike some people who have been taken out. Anyway, let's move on to Senate. Senate, I think my brother Mutala said something. I think Senate clearly law must be looked at.
It's all right. It's all right.
The Senate law must be looked at and looked at well. I think that many, like Mutala said, do not even know that at the end of the month, many employees,
so he was going to make this point.
It's all right. I need to do this.
It's all right.
The education Mutala calls for or is calling for is something that I would support. The employers who, of course, the formal sectors might be aware or they may know. I mean, well-structured companies and all that. No, I know Senate will come to you and say that, look, we want to make sure that you are going to put to, book what you're supposed to pay on behalf of your workers and all that. Senate will come to you, they'll approach you the first time, make sure the necessary formalities is done and all that. However, other areas where we have people, being employed, Senate has not been able to tap into those areas, and it's something that they need to
Why are they not able to tap into those areas when, in fact, they're supposed to have
data system completely? If we have an excellent data system,
there's also the
now
angle
with Ibrahim Mohammed.
Wait, hold on. There's also the angle of SNIT where those who come to blow the whistle are actually sacked sometimes because they have some persons in there who would go and tell that, it was Mr. A who came to say that you are not paying SNIT, and then they lose their jobs. So people are scared and they want to keep their jobs.
You see, yes, like that, all this boils down to we having a very porous system as a nation or as a state, which we need to work on and all that. Why do we wait until someone accumulates to the tune of over 1.6 million Ghana cedis before you get up to say, I'm going to court? What went wrong? What happened? Again, so if we hadn't got change as a people, we would not have had this information.
Why do you want to link it with change?
No, I'm only saying that if we hadn't...
is an organization.
It is. But why? So are you telling me that from 2014 to 2015, 2016 that they cited in their arraignment, okay, did we have it in the media?
We should be asking SNIT.
We didn't have that. And I'm saying that if we hadn't gotten change, where transition actually exposes some of these things, we would not have known that the state is being shortchanged or some workers are being shortchanged. So
you suspect that there's political underpinning to it?
I see, no, that is not what I'm saying. I'm saying that, yes, if scrutiny is actually embarked on, if people are given the right or the opportunity to look into matters, a lot of truth would be laid to bear.
But SNIT is independent, that's what I'm saying. So who will be looking into their matters?
Why? The point here is that government change hands. Senate, nonetheless, is under government, whether you like it.
But this action was brought against engineers and planners by Senate itself.
Not today. I'm saying that, listen to me. I'm saying that, why, if you listen to me, I said, why should we wait until someone accumulates to the tune of 1.6 million Ghana
And then you brought in the change element.
And I'm saying it is good also we have changed. Because if we hadn't got government actually, you know, pushing into some of these or getting, you know, state institutions being put right to work, some of these things.
So the MPP government wants to take credit for this.
Why? At any given time, any government, not just the MPP government, any government that ensures that, look, any government that ensures that, look, whatever is due Ghana is given to Ghana. Whatever is due to any worker of this country is given to that worker. Okay. Why not? It's so.
Okay.
But you see,
so when the good comes, you take it. When the bad comes, you take it.
Absolutely. This attempt to say that, look, Kennedy Ejapon ought not to have said what he said, ought not to have said what he said, and that he is ready to buy his coffin and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Somebody who is showing passion, somebody who is going to make sure or bringing up information that will make sure that our country is not actually shortchanged. You have a problem with that?
Oh, okay.
And yet you question that, look, he's even a member of parliament. And I'm saying, look, that is why I started by saying that members of parliament who are given the respect by their constituents, make them stay and retain them. That's what I say.
I can understand passion. It's the same passion with which he said Delta Force should do the kinds of things they did. It's the same passion he said that certain ethnic groups should be killed. Please, you see, you guys are glorifying mediocre, and it's unfortunate.
Who is glorifying mediocre?
Absolutely, but let me make this point. Let me make this point. You see, it's very important that you must understand that the January, February, March salaries were paid based on the budget that we bequeathed to them.
The supplementary budget.
Yes. The first salary they are supposed to be is that of April, and they failed.
Why?
Yes. January, February, March. January, February, March. Please. Oh, I am saying that it was paid based on the supplementary budget. Oh, can I finish? Can I? Oh, can I listen to you? I listen to you. Come on. Oh, come on. I listen to you.
Come on, listen.
I don't know why.
You see, some of the teachers who sent us messages.
I'm saying that the January, February, yes.
And I'm saying that lots of people, as we said, have received their text messages from bankers and also from people.
Oh, it doesn't say that. Your text messages. Please. Teachers are sending messages. He is disputing that one. But I'm saying it doesn't change the narrative. That the January, the January, February, March salaries were paid based on the supplementary budget that would be to you guys. Right. Your first salary you should pay is this, and you failed. This is a symptom of gross incompetence and substance. But let me make this point. It's very important. You see, we are looking at the conduct. It doesn't matter how many years or term you are in parliament. It has to do with statements you make that every single decent-minded person in this country condemns. The extent to which someone said that someone who is working for this country should go to jail without any reason because he may not like him. By the way, what reason? And by the way, you see, if you have Osafo Mafu, who brings his own son to Senate, please, you have Osafo Mafu, who brought his own son who was abroad.
Is he qualified to do that?
Oh, please, I am saying that there are many Ghanaians who are qualified. I am coming. There are many Ghanaians who are qualified, even within the MPP, to have done that today. People were questioning how people were appointed today, family members, cronies, hegemonic leadership is being established in this country. The narrative has changed. If you observe, Johnny, last point, if you observe, a section of
how many last points would you want to...
Just 30 seconds. A section of the Ghanaian media today have changed the narrative that when there is corruption, it is no longer political corruption. You see, civil servants are corrupt, and we should be focusing on civil servants. Just a few months ago, issues of corruption, civil servants were so protected, they were insulated from that narrative. It's interesting.
Who has
thank you.
So your
point is that.
Yesterday, you had your Minister of Information.
Yes.
Minister of Information who said they were incompetent.
Not a single
you had a Minister of Information.
Corruption.
You had a Minister of Information. You have a Minister of Information who said civil servants were incompetent on TV.
Why?
And you sit here. You said they were incompetent.
Okay, thank you.
Pay them their salary.
Yesterday,
you are going to make them more angry.
The back page of the Daily Graphic, we're wrapping up on this one, says, well, hard trash Kotoko 3-1. clearly Kotoko is incompetent in this direction.
Well, I had a terrible week.
Okay.
Honestly, I had a terrible. My team is RTU. Unfortunately, we are not in the Premier League.
Ever since Abedipele and the rest exited, you have not had a very strong team.
No, we have had.
Maybe that is where I agree.
Even in the absence,
I
belong
to RTU as well.
Even in the absence of Abedipele was outstanding. I mean, even in the absence of Abedipele. Remember at that time you had Mohamed Cho,
exactly.
you have Dawood, a whole lot of them. Gago mentioned them, even Abuga Pele.
Yes.
These were people who did very well for Real Tamal United. Unfortunately, I just pray and I hope that we should come back. There have been some new arrangement.
Yes.
I was devastated because once again I want to auction my Arsenal jerseys. Frankly speaking,
what you should have done that a long time ago.
I want to. I love the team, but I think that we need to change Arsene Wenger. He's been there for so long. We appreciate the things that he did, but I think that it is time he said, look, I have had my bid.
Kotoko and Arsenal have a thing in common, red jerseys. And thank you very much. Kamal Dean Abdullah is a national Nasarawa
I'm neither a
coordinator.
House fan or a Kotoko fan, but
don't worry, on this occasion, be with the winning team.
The next time I'll get RTU to play.
Be with the winning team.
The next time I'll get RTU
we shall score you.
One thing he has never done any sport. He has never played football.
Kamal Dean Abdullah is a national Nasarawa coordinator, and Comrade Murtala Mohammed is with the NDC as well as a former MP. They've joined me for the news review segment. Kamal has national organizer intentions for the end.
Oh, national organizer? No. National youth organizer.
National youth organizer.
Oh, no, you are no longer in the brackets
We'll
of
be
the youth.
We'll be right back.
No, frankly speaking. He was